We will then turn to the last company presentation this morning, which is Norsk Hydro. We have been fortunate enough to have with us this morning Hilde Merete Aasheim, the President and Chief Executive Officer in Norsk Hydro. Hilde was originally with Elkem in her early days. For the last 15 years, she has been an executive with Norsk Hydro, and now she's the President and Chief Executive Officer. Please, Hilde, the floor is yours.
First, thank you for the opportunity to participate in this year's conference and present Hydro's strategic direction toward 2025. The essence of our new strategy is creating value from taking a lead role in the energy transition. We have a good starting point in Hydro. We have more than 115 years of experience in utilizing renewable power to build industry that matter. Today, Hydro is among the top 3 renewable power producers in Norway. But we are not only a big producer of renewable energy, we are also a big consumer. Aluminium produced with renewable energy is what differentiates us in the global market, enabling Hydro to offer aluminium products and solutions with a carbon footprint among the best in the world. The transport segment is one of our biggest markets. Lightweight material, such as our aluminium, is increasingly in demand in the electric vehicle. More and more aluminium is coming back after use. Aluminium is a material that can be recycled and recycled without losing its properties. We have today a large and profitable global recycling business in Hydro, with an EBITDA of more than 1.5 billion kroner throughout the company. The key global megatrends will shape demand for more renewable power and more low-carbon aluminium. Sustainability has surged in importance with increased focus on circular economy and decarbonization. For Hydro, this means that customers want more and more recycled and low-carbon aluminium. Then to electrification. If the world is to reach its climate goal, we need more renewable energy sources. The energy transition that needs to take place will pave the way for more hydropower, solar and wind. Highly relevant for Hydro and our capabilities. Electrification of the transport segment is an important part of the energy transition. E-mobility means that more transport will be electric, driving demand for our lightweight aluminium. Batteries are crucial to enable electric transportation. Batteries and energy storage will be a very important part of the future energy system. Finally, urbanization is also important. More people moving into cities will boost the need for smart and energy-efficient housing and infrastructure, driving demand for aluminium. These megatrends are all in our favor and represent great opportunities for Hydro. This is an important backdrop of our strategic direction. Hydro should be in first line to create value from the energy transition. Based on our capabilities and trends that we are seeing, our strategic direction towards 2025 rests on 2 pillars. The first pillar is to continue to strengthen our position in low-carbon aluminium. Here we have a good position, as 70% of our aluminium is produced on renewable energy. But more renewable energy is needed to secure our position going forward. Our low-carbon brands, Hydro Reduxa, produced from renewable energy, and Hydro CIRCAL, produced from minimum 75% post-consumer scrap, get more and more traction in the market. And consumers are now starting also to be willing to pay a premium. The second pillar, we want to diversify and grow to create values. We see exciting growth opportunities where our capabilities match the megatrends, such as recycling, renewable energy, and batteries. Getting more and more aluminium back after use represents a huge opportunity for us, both from a profitability and sustainability perspective. Aluminium is an energy bank. 75% of all aluminium that is ever produced is still in use, and only 5% of the original energy is necessary to produce a new product. Our used beverage can line in Germany has the capacity to recycle up to 20% of Europeans' beverage cans. The used beverage can represent lower our metal costs for us. It improves the CO2 footprint and we can offer the greener product in the market. The soft drink brand Hell Energy has recently joined Hydro in partnership to use recycled Hydro Circal for their cans. Their ambition is to offer drinks from the greenest beverage can in the world. Going forward, we will step up profitable recycling and double our sourcing of post-consumer scrap, aluminium that has already been in use. We will source larger volumes and broader range of post-consumer scrap, utilizing and capitalizing on our competence in terms of turning the scrap into good products. We have several promising projects in the pipeline as we speak, and aim to lift EBITDA in this area by 1 to 1.5 billion kroner by 2025 through organic growth and also M&A. In the renewable area, our aim is to go from being an off-taker of power to an international renewable energy developer, and to increase our captive production in wind and solar and hydropower in partnership with others. Hydro is not alone in chasing growth in the renewable energy market, but we are different. Hydro has strong competence and experience in development and licensing of renewable projects, in executing large projects and operate power plants. We have market insight and trading competence. We represent a large industrial consumption, and we are by far the largest Nordic anchor customer of new renewable projects. None of the peers we compare to have all of this in-house. I also want to highlight the market experience. We have more than 20 terawatt hours in management in Europe. Based on 30 years experience in the most advanced power markets, we took this competence to Brazil in 2015, and have built a solid market presence also in Brazil. We have also been a front-runner in developing PPA market for market-based wind power contracts in the Nordics, gaining substantial experience. Today, we are operating the Tonstad wind park in Norway, Norway's second largest. Here, we take the power as produced and translate it through market operations to base load to our aluminium smelters. All of this competence provides us with a scalable platform for adding new activities. Today, Hydro is the largest listed power producer on the Oslo Stock Exchange in Norway, as illustrated to the right on this slide. Now, we aim to further develop a balanced portfolio of wind, solar and hydropower at different stages of the development process. As a large consumer, a market player and a producer of energy, Hydro is an attractive partner for a large renewable power projects, as an owner, a part owner, and as an experienced operator of renewable power plants. For 2021, we target investments in more than 1 gigawatt of renewable power projects, first and foremost in the Nordics and in Brazil. In Brazil, we have already signed MOUs with Scatec and Equinor on a 480 megawatt solar project, and with Macquarie's Green Investment Group for a 620 megawatt combined wind and solar project. We have also joined forces with the German Sovitech, aiming to develop a large-scale floating solar power project in Pará state in Brazil. If realized, the solar plant will produce electricity for our plants Alunorte and Albras in Brazil. In the Nordics, we are currently assessing several opportunities in Norway and Sweden. In the renewable energy area, we are evaluating a potential equity raise in 2021, and while maintaining majority ownership, one alternative could be to stock list this business as a separate company. Then to batteries. The battery sector is growing at tremendous speed. Hydro is well placed to take a lead creating a battery cluster in the battery value chain, in addition to providing aluminium to the battery case in the electric vehicle. With capabilities and experience in materials, electrochemistry, energy and manufacturing, and a close long-term relationship with European automotive producers, Hydro's foundation provides a unique opportunity. We have already taken several positions in the value chain through joint ventures, and we continue to explore further opportunities in the whole value chain. A few years ago, we took a small stake and engaged in a strategic partnership with Northvolt, which has come a long way with plans to build a gigafactory for battery cells in Sweden. We are the proud owner of 21% of the shares in Corvus Energy, the energy storage pioneer, the world's largest manufacturer of battery system to the marine sector, with a state-of-the-art battery system factory in Bergen, Norway. Corvus recently teamed up with Toyota to start the development and production of a hydrogen fuel cell system, and we are very excited to be part of this development. Another example, we have entered into a 50-50 joint venture with Northvolt, where we have founded Hydrovolt, a recycling plant facility for EV batteries. The pilot plant that is now being built in Fredrikstad in Norway will have an initial capacity of 8,000 tons battery packs per year. We are very excited about Hydrovolt. Here we will capitalize on the well-developed Norwegian EV market, but this can also be a very interesting business outside Norway. And the last example, we recently announced a strategic partnership with leading technology company Panasonic and Equinor. We will jointly explore possibilities for establishing a Norwegian full-scale giga-battery factory based on renewable power, based on the latest in battery technologies, as well as world-class know-how on raw materials and process industry. We have already received very good feedback from customers and from more than 80 municipalities in Norway, offering locations for such a facility. The exploratory phase should be finished before summer. With our new battery unit, we will take lead in creating a battery cluster together with partners. We aim to invest 3 billion kroner by 2025 with an earning potential of pro rata 600 to 700 million EBITDA per year. We see that the battery ambition as an exciting opportunity to leverage our century-long experience, build on existing battery investments, and also explore new growth opportunities with partners. In summary, Hydro's strategic direction towards 2025 is based on 2 pillars. Continue to strengthen our low-carbon position, but then also diversify and grow in recycling, renewable energy, and batteries. With this strategy, we embark on the next chapter in Hydro's history, building industries that matter, and creating value by taking a lead role in the energy transition. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Hilde. It's interesting to hear your speech this morning and sort of connected to your message also to the capital markets. And recently you had a capital markets day, and in the past we were used to that the stock price dropped when you had your capital markets day. This year the market was enthusiastic about it. What sort of differentiate your capital markets day this year from the previous messages you have given, you think?
Well, it's always difficult to read the response, but I think that it's a reflection on a support for the directions that we have set. Hopefully a reflection for what we have been doing over the last years, but a reflection that there is a rationale of using the vast capability that Hydro has into new growth areas, which has growth prospects going forward. So I read it as a positive sign, but then it's all about execution.
Svein Harald?
Yeah, I think, of course, the starting point is that Hydro showed a very strong business performance through 2020, and Hydro has an earnings machine. So when it runs at all 4 cylinders, with bauxite, alumina, primary extrusion and energy, it really can deliver amazing earnings, as we have seen in Hydro's best years. But Hydro has historically had a challenge on growth. Basically, how do we ensure that the earnings of Hydro are sustainable and that there's a growth story that can take the company forward. So I think that's what the market has been looking for, the message on growth. And of course, what Hilde now presented, for example, on the recycling and remelting, where basically already today there's 1.5 billion NOK of earnings hidden in the Hydro system, which he says can increase actually to 2.5 to 3 billion NOK in earnings from recycling and remelting within the next decade. That's an amazing number in the context of whatever is happening in the renewable and kind of energy transition world in Norway. Then you add on what's being presented now on the renewable growth and other business opportunities, and you actually get a growth story. And then you can couple growth stories and earnings. Then you have, of course, a market value, an improved market value perspective on the company. And I think that's probably the aspiration for Hydro as they go forward.
You have now addressed the renewable energy and various potential growth initiatives. Well, what should we expect becoming your next initiative within this sector?
I think, as I said, we are maturing new projects as we go along. We have announced the 2 MOUs in Brazil, the project with Sovitech, and I think you have to wait for the new announcements. But we have organized the renewable activities as a separate unit to ring fence to really make sure that we are in this growth mode, and I hope to announce more as we go along.
Thank you. Svein Harald, do you see any new growth initiatives potential for Norsk Hydro here?
I think, because we are now in the regard to the energy transition, we are now almost in the era of fascination, right? We are fascinated about the opportunities that originate, but I think many still forget sort of the industrial challenge of actually delivering this. And there, of course, Hydro has a 100-year history of industrializing innovation, which is basically what's now needed, right? So it's about material technology, large project execution, mobilizing capital in a way that we haven't seen before to really make these projects happen. And I think as we move into that area, hopefully for Hydro, the kind of industrial muscles of the company will be increasingly important. We all know Hydro's history, for example, in hydrogen electrolysis, which is one of the areas of the future. Many today forget that building a hydrogen plant is a 500 million NOK kind of venture. And if you need 10 or 100, well, then we are talking really big industrial projects where we actually do need companies like Hydro to deliver on those.
To follow up a bit on that issue, when you look at your balance sheet, your strong focus on maintaining investment grade, etc., is it really realistic that you can do all this by yourself? I mean, in the battery side, you have sort of different partners, minority ownership, etc. So sometimes we hear from the industrial companies they need majority, etc. Here it seems that you have a bit more sort of flexible approach to it.
I think that's part of our thinking, that we need to partner up, and the combination can make things better than if we're going to do everything on our own balance sheet or 100%. So I think that's a little bit of the new twist here, that we want to pair up with companies where we can actually create much better together.
Svein Harald?
No, I think the challenge, of course, for Hydro is how they can sort of combine sort of the industrial sort of orientation and the focus on the core business with the innovation that's needed to really drive change. Of course, it's also helpful, as we've seen from other cases, to get the full valuation in the markets, because that really enables you to raise capital, to join partnership, to acquire other companies. So I think that's the real dilemma for Hydro. How sort of benefit for the strength of the company, while at the same time ensure the agility that's needed to succeed in this energy transition.
To follow up on getting full valuation of Norsk Hydro, when we look at the businesses today, I mean the aluminum business and the renewable business, some people would argue it's fairly distinct, different businesses. And when you go to your quarterly presentations, it's perhaps 9/10 of the time is spent on the aluminum business. And we also see various research reports very much focusing on that, perhaps neglecting what we're seeing here. Do you, and from time to time we get the debate, should you split the company in two? What's your thoughts about this in terms of getting full valuation of your asset base?
I think from what I presented today, I think it's a good fit because we are building on the capabilities that we have. And for example, in the renewable part, we talk about both being a producer of energy, but also a consumer, and that could create a lot of new opportunities. Also in the battery sector, as Svein Harald talked about, it's not only to build a factory if you don't have experience. So here we see that we capitalize on the fact that we are working with the automotive producers. We know how to build a factory, and when we combine this with a technology partner, we can create more. So I think it's a good fit actually to pursue the new opportunities.
What do you think, Svein Harald?
I think it's, of course, it's a real dilemma. If you look at the numbers, so Scatec produces 3 terawatt hours in 2020. It has a market cap of 50 billion NOK. Hydro produced 3.4 terawatt hours in fourth quarter alone. And the energy business is hidden somewhere in the total earning figures of Hydro. So yes, there's benefit in industrial strength, but on the other hand, the Gordon Geckos of the world will, of course, always think that there's something that's missing, right? Why can't you spin it out? Why can't we think about it in a different structure? And that's the challenge and the dilemma to Hydro, that at every point of time, they need to prove that there's more value to be created from the industrial integration, as opposed to what can be created by carve-outs and kind of financial restructuring. And yeah, I think that's what Hilde will be tested on a day-to-day basis as the world goes forward.
Because looking at the past, I mean, Norsk Hydro perhaps has been the company at the Oslo Stock Exchange, spinning off divisions, splitting up. I mean, if you think about Yara, the oil and gas business with Equinor. So of course, you would be thinking along the lines Svein Harald is arguing now, that you sort of, when you look at the energy production you actually have and compare with others in the peer group, that is very hard to get out the full value, despite potential synergies with the industrial part. But you argue that proof is still to be made on that.
I think with the strategy we show now is that we want to highlight the capabilities and what we have as a company, and to make that more visible. And it's in the execution then.
So now, do you think it's a valid argument that sort of, yes, you are a consumer, but you are also a producer? I mean, there are many consumers of electricity that are not producers, and vice versa. You mentioned Scatec. They have never thought about becoming an aluminum producer.
No, I think, of course, to make projects happen, it always helps to have some element of integration and de-risking. Of course, especially as you go to maybe less developed markets like Brazil, having the consumption pattern of Hydro, and also, of course, in Norway. In many ways, Hydro has been an enabler of a very large part of the renewable project in Norway, for example, in wind, simply because Hydro has been able to sign long-term contract. Up to date, Hydro hasn't captured the kind of valuation impact on that by actually creating a kind of its own renewable company. But now, I guess that's the step we are seeing that Hydro is taking to not only help to bring the project forward by being a large customer and signing long-term contracts, but also by turning that around and say that can also be a part of a business build process for Hydro. And I think that's a new step. And again, it's a bit yet to be proven. But again, now some very important steps have been taken, and I think we'll all see what will happen in the years to come.
And then Svein Harald got the final word in this discussion about Norsk Hydro. Thank you very much.